I am going to be planting some Jersulem artichoke today, and some Saskatoon trees and some sea buckthorn. Here's my sea buckthorn. Here's my Saskatoon. These two things I got from Select Seedling Nursery. They're out of Saskatchewan, I believe. They sell a lot of shelter belt trees. Oh, and I've got a pal today. I'm at the farm here this weekend with my kids, and this little one just isn't feeling all that good. I think he has like a little stomach bug. So, he's riding shotgun with Mama. Here's my Jersulem artichoke. So, Jersulem artichoke is, hey, leave. This is what it looks like. These are edible. This is a native plant to our area, but just because it's native doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. It can be a very invasive plant, so you need to be very mindful where you plant this, especially because it grows by tuber and not by seed. So I am going to be planting this. We actually have like a clay pit over where usually our backhoe sits, and I'm going to plant these there because when they do multiply, they will have a really hard time multiplying through that packed soil. And it'll kind of create, I'm hoping it'll create a bit of a screen so that the kids won't want to go there, because when it rains, it fills up with water, and it is like, it's a mud pit, but it's a clay mud pit. So once you're in, you're stuck. So it's a fun place to play when Mom and Dad are around, but it's a very dangerous place to play if no one's watching. So that's where I'm going to be planting these. And just a little word of advice. I don't follow a lot of my own advice, which I should. I'm really trying the older I get. But when you grow plants from seed, when you order trees, have a place for them. I love sea buckthorn and I love Saskatoons, but I wasn't prepared. I don't have spaces prepared for them. I assume because I have huge acreage, I can just plant them wherever, but that's not always the case. I mean, I spent money on these. I really need to be careful. I need to be mindful and respectful of them. And I didn't get spaces prepped for them, and I really should have. And now I'm really, really busy, and I'm hustling to try and find spots for these to go. So this will be kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't think that's too important. So anyways, we're going to try planting these. Yeah. Oh, come here. Come here. You all tangled up in a tree? Yeah? Oh, need to harvest this. There are some fat, juicy poplar buds on here. Put that aside. Okay. Can you take this cooler and go put it by the woodshed?
I don't know if I'll be able to get it in here, but yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, you grab the handle and it goes on wheels. All right, planting Jersulem artichokes or sunchokes. There is a few other names. I'd heard one, I think, like tootchokes, or I can't remember. Someone had called them toot something because eating too many of them can make you quite gassy because of the fiber. But Jersulem artichokes, otherwise known as sunchokes, Helianthus tuberosis. Okay. Helianthus tuberosis, I believe. Is my face dirty? Part of the sunflower family, but not treated like a sunflower. It has tubers as opposed to seeds. It's more similar to a potato than it is to a sunflower. But its flower looks like a big yellow sunflower. And they talk about eyes, but I find it's really hard to tell the eyes on them. But I'm just going to be planting one whole thing and hoping for the best. My soil is this soil here is like, this is it, clay. It's just pure clay. So it's great if you're a potter. But Jersulem artichokes, I got these gifted to me this past fall, winter, from a girlfriend. You okay back there, buddy? Yeah, you just gonna have a little snooze? And they are edible, so they're a great alternative to potatoes, because they don't, they're a great alternative for diabetics because they don't spike. They don't cause a sugar spike. They're really good. They're a really good form of fiber. What else? What else? So they're like potatoes, but you don't want to boil them. They tend to go all mushy. So you don't want them going all mushy. Baking and steaming is said to be the best way to make use of them. So I would serve them like a roast vegetable. And, you know, as a side, because they do cause some gassiness. And I am just literally spading a hole and dropping it in. And who knows if they will grow. So these can grow 4 to 6 feet tall, and a lot of people will use them as windbreaks or shelter breaks, privacy screens. They grow nice and tall, and they're strong, sturdy stems. The pollinators really like them. And you want to leave them in the ground after a few hard frosts, especially one hard frost, because when frost hits plants, what it does is it tells the plant, when frost comes, it tells the plant that nighttime temperatures are changing, that it's going to get colder. So the plant is no longer putting its energy into its flower and into its growing. It is going to send all of its energy down to its root system. And when it does that, it sends all of its sugars, all of its nutrients. So to have a good hard frost or two is really good, because it's going to send all of its energy that it sent up to its flower back down into its root or tubers. So before you harvest, you want to have 1 or 2 hard frosts. Some people I know, they will mulch their beds really, really thickly, and then they can harvest throughout the winter. I won't be doing that. You can also just leave them in the ground and harvest them in the spring. So if you plant, let's say 10 tubers, you might want to harvest at least half of them, or let them grow the first year and see how well they multiply. I have quite a few, and so we'll see if, first of all, if they come up before we even talk about harvesting. Oh, can you go give them back to Sam and stay out of, he's getting into the briquettes. So these can be harvested in the early spring and then replanted. And yeah, and they will do just fine. This will be my first year growing them. So I'm going to put a few here in the ground here, and then I'm going to go put a few higher up in the garden, and see how well they do. Is he sleeping? Yeah, he's tired. He's not feeling so good. 4 to 6 inches deep, 12 to 18 inches apart. Yeah, there's lots of great recipes. You can ferment these. Oh, the other thing that's really great about Jersulem artichokes is that you can eat them raw. Unlike members of the nightshade family, this you can eat raw, and I have shredded this and used it in a salad, and it's really, really good. I don't know if eating raw or cooking it lessens the gassiness, but again, it's something that you want to have in a smaller quantity. And maybe if you're going to eat it, don't go out for the evening. Don't make plans. But that's my Jersulem artichokes. Okay, all done planting the Jersulem artichokes, and I remembered the other name. It's called earth apple, and I think that that's just a beautiful name for this plant. So I'm gonna continue calling Helianthus Tuberosis earth apple. You might notice in some of my videos that I try to use always throw in the botanical or scientific name. I'm trying to learn the correct names for a lot of the plants that I work with, as well as their background. It's really helpful to know why certain people called certain plants why they did. So earth apple, it can be planted in pretty much any type of soil. It wants fertile soil, but it will grow in crappy soil as well, and it might grow in very heavy clay soil. Who knows? What else can I tell you? Oh, when you're storing it, so if you harvest it in the fall after a hard frost, it will not store like a potato. So it's like a potato, but it does not store like a potato. You don't cure it like a potato. You would put it into a Ziploc bag and put it into your crisper. And you want to make sure that it doesn't dry out. It needs to stay a little bit moist. I found that mine stayed in my crisper in a Ziploc bag, and it always had a little bit of moisture on the inside the bag, and it was fine. And I used some sparingly throughout the winter because I really wanted to plant this stuff in my yard and not eat it. So that's how you would store it. And I think that that's it for planting our earth apples. Now I am going to try and find some space for my Saskatoon trees and my sea buckthorn plants.